Is Michael Bloomberg the answer Democrats are looking for? Someone who can defeat President Trump? He says he has the resources and the record, but admits it won't be easy. A crowd estimated around 500 turned out in the rain to hear the former mayor of New York explain why he's running for president.
I am running to defeat Donald Trump.
He could have ended his rally right then. After months of debates and changing polls, Democrats are still looking for someone they believe can defeat President Trump.
We got to put somebody in front of him that can beat him.
A major hurdle Bloomberg faces is his stop and frisk program. It targeted young black men in New York City during his time as mayor. You recently apologized for stop and frisk in New York, and I'm wondering, do you have any other plans to reach out to the black community, African American voters?
Look, number one, if you take a look at our audiences and you look at the polls, we're doing very well in the African American communities.
Bloomberg supporter Sharon Fisher says she accepts Bloomberg's apology. Can he overcome the stop and frisk with the black voters?
I think he can overcome that. It's what he's been doing. You know, he's just not talking the talk, but he's talking and walking the talk.
Jacob Jones, another Bloomberg supporter, says it's old news. Stop and frisk is something you're okay with.
I don't have a problem with something that happened 10 years ago.
Bloomberg not only apologizes for stop and frisk, a program he says drastically reduced the city's murder rate. Today, in our one-on-one interview, he admits he was wrong.
We got to the point where we were doing it too much. I think my heart was in the right place. We had 650 murders, and I was trying to reduce the murder rate. But I didn't quite recognize that we were stopping an awful lot of people, and it just grew with time. And we stopped an awful lot of young African-American men and women, and it hurt.
Bloomberg tells the Greensboro crowd President Trump is a national emergency that must be stopped, adding he knows how to stop him.
We all know that Donald Trump is a bully. But he's from New York, and I'm from New York, and I know how to deal with New York bullies.
Bloomberg's not only outspinning all the Democrats on TV, he has employed more than 100 staffers in 8 offices across North Carolina. In Greensboro, Bill O'Neill, WXII 12 News.
Thank you, Bill. Bernie Sanders plans to visit North Carolina tomorrow. He's holding a rally in Durham in the morning and then heading to Charlotte in the afternoon.
Happening now, the United States Senate has approved a resolution that would limit President Trump's ability to launch military operations. This resolution restricts the president's power to use military might without congressional approval. Lawmakers have been debating President Trump's motive for a drone strike that killed Iran's top military commander earlier this year.
Well, investigators want to know if you recognize this man. Randolph County deputies say he is the 3rd suspect in the shooting of a worker at a gaming business. Investigators think he is an accomplice of the 2 other gunmen. Deputies say the suspects tried getting into the building as an employee held the door closed. They go on to say the suspects started shooting and injured a worker in the process. The suspects then took off in a silver Dodge Charger. They are all considered armed and dangerous.
New at 4, a child under the age of 5 died from the flu in our state last week. That child was one of 9 victims recently. The total number of flu deaths this year is risen to 75. The majority of flu victims in our state are over the age of 65. A 15th person is tested positive for the coronavirus in this country. The CDC says that patients among a group of people under federal quarantine at an Air Force base in San Antonio. The group returned on a charter flight to U.S. from China on February 7th. This is the first person in a quarantine at that base who has tested positive for the coronavirus.
Active shooter drills have unfortunately become a normal practice in schools over the last decade and a half or so, and the 2nd largest teachers union in America wants them to stop. The American Federation of Teachers, the National Education Association, and Everytown for Gun Safety condemn these drills, saying they are traumatizing students. The groups recommend a more comprehensive approach that does not involve students, like extreme risk laws, staff training on lockout procedures, or emergency medical procedures. They also recommend that information regarding the drills should be given to parents ahead of time so they can prepare their sons and daughters.
In Winston-Salem, leaders with the city, faith communities, and education community want to put some money in young people's pockets in Forsyth County. They shared their vision of a new paid internship program this afternoon. Our Leanne Dinier was there for the news conference. And Leanne, how are they saying this is going to help students?
Well, they think it's going to have a huge impact. So this program wants to pay high school juniors and seniors $10 an hour for a maximum of 10 hours a week to have a paid internship, and they really believe this could have life-changing consequences.
After high school, I would like to go to Forsyth Tech and transfer to UNCG to be a translator in the construction industry.
That was just one of the students we heard from this afternoon. Dozens packed into the education building in Winston-Salem to make this announcement, to hear this announcement. Truist Bank provided a $1.2 million grant to get this program off the ground. Supporters of the new program believe this will help students transition into the workforce, prepare them to be more prepared in their chosen career paths, help families who may be struggling financially, all while helping students get excited about what's to come once they're out of school.
I think to a young person, really seeing what the world of work is really like, they get excited about it. And we heard one of the students today talking about her interest in construction, and so it just gets them motivated, gets them excited, and really going to take them on a path that's going, their life's going to be really happy.
All right, so the next step in this project is to get the business community involved. They say they want at least 50 companies to join them in this effort. Any businesses interested in getting involved in this new paid internship program should contact the Chamber of Commerce. There was a lot of excitement about this afternoon, and we're going to hear from one of the students who thinks that this is just a fantastic idea. In Winston-Salem, Leanne Dinier, WXII 12 News.
Do you use the word cheating? Was this cheating?
We broke the rules.
The Houston Astros apologized for that sign-stealing scandal, but is it good enough for the rest of Major League Baseball, and is it good enough for its fans?
Plus, the coronavirus is putting the 2020 Olympic Games on notice. How leaders there plan to deal with the outbreak.
And it was a great trade-off. I got a kid and she got edible arrangements. So.
He got a kidney, she got an edible arrangement. That's a Valentine's Day gift that's more than just flowers and chocolates. It is life-changing. We'll have that story for you a little bit later. This is WXII 12 News at 4.
Your WXII 12 forecast is always available on the free WXII 12 app. Stay connected with Chief Meteorologist Lainey Pope on her Facebook page.
Wayne will have your forecast in a moment, but first, the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo are still on despite the coronavirus outbreak over in Asia.
Yeah, Olympic organizers right now are confirming there are no plans at this time to cancel or postpone the Games, which are set to take place between July 24th and August 9th. An International Olympic Committee member says organizers right now are working diligently to take all the necessary steps to protect athletes and fans. So far, the virus has killed more than 1,300 people and infected some 60,000 all over the planet. Well, as spring training for the new 2020 Major League Baseball season gets underway, the owner and several Houston Astros players are issuing their first public apology.
They were involved in a cheating scandal that rocked baseball this offseason.
But as Chris Pallone explains, their owner does not think the players should be held accountable.
As spring training opens, the Houston Astros took their first swing at taking the cheating scandal surrounding them out of the ballpark.
I am really sorry about the choices that were made by my team, by the organization, and by me.
Apologizing for using cameras and monitors in their 2017 championship season, according to Major League Baseball, to figure out what pitches opponents would throw and relaying it to batters by banging on a garbage can.
We don't want to be remembered as the team that cheated to get a championship.
Baseball fined the Astros. The team fired its GM and manager, but no players have been punished.
We hold those two guys accountable for what happened and not stopping that action.
The scandal has consumed baseball's offseason, with opposing players making accusations and pointing fingers, and leaving many to wonder how widespread these sign-stealing schemes are and how much effect they had.
Certainly, I've spent time, as I'm sure a lot of people have, wondering all the things that could have potentially been going on.
Beyond making general apologies and taking a serious tone, Astros players wouldn't say much about the scheme's details, meaning the questions this season will keep coming, despite their best efforts to swat them away. Chris Pallone, NBC News.
And in other sports/news, President Trump is going to be at the Daytona 500 on Sunday. It is the latest sporting event he'll attend in hopes of courting voters for his re-election this fall. He will become the second sitting U.S. president to ever attend the Great American Race at Daytona International Speedway. The green flag is set to drop at 2:30 this Sunday.
All right, ladies, time to text your besties. It's Galentine's Day. This became really popular because of the NBC comedy series Parks and Recreation. Back in an episode in 2010, the main character on the show had a February 13th brunch with gifts for her close female friends and coworkers. They really doted on each other. She says it is ladies celebrating ladies. The unofficial holiday has been gaining in popularity ever since then. There are even some businesses around offering deals and discounts for the occasion.
And that's not what Galentine's Day looks like around here. Short sleeves and tank tops outside lunch. No.
I don't know where that was, but you're right, that wasn't here.
I was thinking, I don't know, she showed up with coffee for me today, so this is
Happy Galentine's Day.
Thank you. I like the red too.
I got some chocolate back in the desk I'll share with everybody later too.
All right. Well, you know what? My gift is hopefully some sunshine.
Yes,
coming to the forecast, and the end of the rain. It is moving out, folks, but wind and cold are coming in afterward. You've got Elon University there on the screen. You can see it's been wet for most of the day. There's been some heavy rain at times. Had about half of an inch in most communities and a little bit more in a few. Now here's where we're headed. Looking toward the weekend. It is Valentine's Day weekend. We are drying out, clearing out tonight. We have gusty winds that brings the cold air in and a dry, sunny weekend in the forecast. Today, just over 3/4 of an inch at PTI Airport. Remember, this is the wettest February ever. We're at 5.88, which is more than 4.5 inches above normal. You look at the rainfall across the area over the last day and a half, and you're going to see areas that have seen anywhere between 1/4 to about 3/4 of an inch across the Triad. Some areas that have seen more than an inch from Wilkesboro up toward Elkin. Here's your Valentine's Day forecast. We've got sunshine, no rain. It is going to be chilly, and yes, we've got a cold breeze. The high temperature tomorrow afternoon is 47 with mostly sunny skies. The winds are already starting to pick up out of the west and and northwest at about 10 to 20 miles an hour. Temps haven't dropped yet in the Triad, so it's still very mild. You've got temperatures in the low to mid 60s. We're already in the 40s in the mountains, and that cold air is not too far to the northwest. The rain is also not too far to the east, so just barely clearing our area, but we will stay dry as we go through this evening and overnight. And then not much happening out here except for this cold high pressure moving in from Canada, which is definitely going to bring a change to the forecast. It brings 20s to the mountains by tomorrow morning at 25. Temperatures that are near freezing in the foothills and the Triad, looking at 35, 34 degrees. Winds through the evening out of the northwest at 10 miles an hour, staying north and northwesterly throughout the day tomorrow at about 10. So yes, that is a brisk wind. It's going to make it feel colder than the actual temperatures out there. So feels like temps are down in the teens tomorrow morning in the mountains, and looking for feels like temperatures in the upper 20s across the Triad. Tomorrow's highs may make it close to 50 degrees, but it's going to feel like it's in the 30s and 40s across our area thanks to the wind. So mostly sunny for your Friday with a high of 47 degrees in the Triad. Our temperatures are in the mid 40s in the foothills, topping out at about 45, and then for the mountains, a cold day. You've got a high of 35. Temperatures again are going to feel like they're in the 20s for most of the day. If you're headed out for Valentine's evening, maybe dinner, movie, something like that, you make sure you bring your coat because those temperatures are dropping once the sun goes down. We'll be down around 34 degrees at about 9 o'clock. Clear skies. For Saturday, a very cold start with temperatures that are in the low to mid 20s. High temperature 51 with sunshine. For Sunday, maybe a few more clouds, a little bit warmer, but still cooler than we've seen as of late with a high of 54. Can you believe this? I've got 4 straight dry days. Rain returns by Tuesday.
I'm going to savor those 4 days, Lainey. Thank you. All right, let's check traffic. Here's I-40 near Silas Creek Parkway in Winston-Salem. The commute's looking smooth in this area. No issues for drivers in this part of the Piedmont.
Her friends called her an Uber, but she never returned home, while the rideshare driver is now facing charges.
But first, a major pledge by the head of BP, what that company hopes to do by 2050.
WXII 12 News is always available on the free WXII 12 app. Stay connected to Kenny Beck on his Facebook page.
BP is setting some big goals. The company is promising to reach zero emissions by the year 2050. Details are limited tonight, but the aim is to cut greenhouse gas emissions from its global operations and emissions from the oil and gas it produces by 2050. During that time frame, BP also plans to have the carbon intensity of the product it sells. These commitments are the most ambitious for any major oil company so far.
A men's fashion trend has fallen flat. Romp Him, or the male romper, is going out of business. They announced their decision in a message to their fans yesterday. Romp Him launched the one-piece outfit back in 2017, and the idea went viral, but it seems like now the novelty is worn off. Facebook's WhatsApp has more than 2 billion users now. It's just 500 million shy of Facebook's monthly active users. For people who are unfamiliar with this app, it allows people to message each other anywhere around the world. It also has end-to-end encryption, which means that all the chats are secured. Facebook bought WhatsApp in 2014 for $19 billion. It's been run separately, and WhatsApp CEO says that is not going to change.
Coming up in our next half-hour news, a daring rescue caught on camera. How one man's quick instincts saved another man's life.
And a local woman shows how much she loves her husband with a life-changing gift.
Oh, you're going to need to trade in your rain jacket for a heavier jacket. 20s and 30s are back in the forecast.
From WXII 12 News, this is breaking news.
Breaking news at 4:30, that missing 6-year-old girl in South Carolina named Faye Swetlick has been found dead.
And police are treating her death as a homicide case. Investigators say they also found a man's body in Faye's neighborhood, but they don't have any evidence right now to connect the two deaths. Faye vanished from her front yard Monday after getting safely off of her school bus. Officers say right now they don't believe there's any threat to the public.
And more breaking news, this is quite a bit closer to home. A Lexington man is now accused of selling a deadly dose of heroin to a man in Forsyth County. 31-year-old Jonathan Barfield is now charged with second-degree murder in the death of Bradley Griffin. Investigators say Griffin died from a heroin overdose on Farrier Drive in Clemens about 5 months ago. Detectives say Barfield sold that heroin to Griffin. Barfield is in jail right now, his bond set at $200,000.
All right, let's talk about this weather. The skies are finally parting, starting to get some relief from the relentless rain.
We could use a lot of that. Showers moving east. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Lanny Pope. Hopefully they will stay well to the east, maybe out in the Atlantic for a while.
Well, the rain is definitely moving away from us. You're looking at the skies over Ennis. We've got dry skies, and we're soon going to have sunny skies, or at least clear skies. You're going to want to get out over the next hour or so, though, while the temperatures are still warm across the Triad and before the cold air comes in and while it's not raining. So 62 in Greensboro, 64 in Winston-Salem, 59 in North Wilkesboro. The cold air is already starting to tumble into the mountains where temperatures are in the 40s, and the rain is ending across the Triad and moving east. It is going to be much colder by tomorrow morning as temperatures get down pretty close to freezing. So 35 in the Triad and 25 tomorrow morning in the mountains. We've got that cold air coming in, and we do have some sunshine in the forecast for the weekend. We'll look ahead coming up.
Lanny, thank you very much. The severe weather sweeping across much of the country caused all kinds of damage in a number of states.
Yeah, here in the South, a lot of people are bracing for flash flooding, while up north, people are bundling up for a deep freeze.
Sam Brock joins us now in Atlanta.
Overnight, a possible tornado tearing across Tennessee, southwest of Nashville. Power poles toppled, with at least one home destroyed. While across southwest Virginia, heavy rain causing multiple landslides. Some residents forced to evacuate their homes, a mudslide pushing this home off its foundation.
I've lived here for almost 14 years. I've never seen this bad.
In northern Alabama, strong winds collapsed this garage. Parts of the waterlogged South can't seem to catch a break. It's been the wettest start to the year on record for some cities in Alabama and Mississippi. Birmingham, drenched by nearly 17 inches of rain since January 1st. That's 10 inches above normal. In Mississippi, relentless rain forcing some residents out of their homes. And near Vicksburg, heavy rains washed out Highway 80, shutting it in both directions. While further north, near Tupelo, this county road collapsed from all the water. Meanwhile, starting today, folks in the Midwest and the Northeast are bracing for a very big chill. An icy blast of winter that could bring some of the lowest temperatures of the season.
Water levels on the Chattahoochee River behind me here in Atlanta are already swollen, and that is the big concern today. 250 rivers and creeks throughout the region expected to be at or above flood stage by the time this system passes through. Sam Brock, NBC News, Atlanta.
In Commitment 2020 now, early voting is open in North Carolina as of today. Democratic candidates are wasting no time campaigning here in the Tar Heel State. Democrat Mike Bloomberg was in the Triad this morning. He made stops in Greensboro and in Winston-Salem. As Meredith Stutz explained, there are some people who support him and others who aren't ready to commit yet.
The pouring rain could not stop voters and supporters of former Mayor Mike Bloomberg from pouring into here at Footnote Coffee and Cocktails, and more than 100 people packed into this tiny room to hear him speak and give his platform.
I am running to defeat Donald Trump.
That one sentence sent the room into applause. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg made his pitch in Winston-Salem on the first day of early voting in North Carolina.
Being a mayor is a management job. Being president should be a management job. We've got to start making all of these programs that Congress passes and announces, make them actually work.
More than 700 people were in attendance, including first-time voter and Wake Forest student Ben Conley.
I didn't expect him to come to Winston-Salem, honestly, but I think that shows a lot of fortitude on his part to venture into places like this.
You've all heard the slogan, Mike will get it done, and if you haven't, I've been spending an awful lot of money to get it out.
Bloomberg defined it as taking on climate change, gun control, teachers' wages, and insurance for all Americans. Kathy House says she was impressed.
I think he's got the chops to take on Trump.
She says Bloomberg's media blitz doesn't turn her off, nor does renewed controversy over comments and policing policies during his time as mayor.
Not everyone is willing to do that, to step up and say, oops, could have done it better.
Even with declarations like,
I know that I can beat Donald Trump.
Undecided voters like Conley say they aren't ready to commit to a candidate.
We'll see. We'll see.
And that was our Meredith Stutz reporting. Early voting for North Carolina voters begins now and runs through the end of February. There are polling sites in each and every county. Check with your local Board of Elections for those locations and those hours. And you can register and cast a ballot as well. And as a reminder, photo ID is not required for this primary election.
Next to our nation's capital today, a bipartisan vote in the U.S. Senate to rein in President Trump's military actions in Iran. But while some Republicans crossed the party lines in this vote, none of them are speaking out over a controversy in the Department of Justice. Alice Barr gets us up to speed now from Washington.
Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schumer. Today, a bipartisan rebuke of President Trump.
The yeas are 55, the nays are 45.
8 Republican senators joining all Democrats to pass a war powers resolution, limiting his military actions in Iran without a vote from Congress.
The nation is stronger in war when a war has the judgment of the entire Congress.
The move stems from President Trump ordering the killing of top Iranian General Qasem Soleimani last month without congressional approval. Iran struck back, firing missiles at Iraqi bases housing U.S. troops.
Over 100 service members have sustained traumatic brain injuries.
The president's defenders don't want his hands tied, saying he made the right call.
It showed Iran that its terrorism would come at a price.
President Trump is expected to veto the measure, tweeting, "This is not the time to show weakness." But where some Republicans are challenging the president here, none speaking out over a controversy gripping the Justice Department. An entire team of federal prosecutors walking away from the case against Trump associate Roger Stone. Amid allegations, the DOJ did the president a favor by pushing for a shorter prison sentence for Stone, convicted of lying to Congress and obstructing the Russia investigation. All 10 Democrats on the Senate Judiciary Committee now calling for an investigation into political interference at the DOJ. Alice Barr, NBC News, Washington.
Now to New York, where Harvey Weinstein's lawyers say prosecutors have a tale and not a case during closing arguments of his sexual assault trial. The movie maker's defense says he is innocent. His lawyers told jurors to ignore outside forces and use common sense when deliberating. Prosecutors will close their side of the story on Friday. Weinstein's charged with raping a woman in 2013 and sexually assaulting a separate woman in 2006. In Oregon, an Uber driver is accused of sexually assaulting a passenger, and that driver is in custody right now. Police say a 21-year-old woman was out with friends Saturday night drinking. The safe thing, they all thought, was to call her an Uber, but when she didn't come home, they got worried and started calling her phone. A relative was able to track it and found the woman sitting in the Uber driver's car crying. She told her friends that she'd been sexually assaulted.
She made the right choice. Unfortunately, it just had a different ending than we all hoped for.
The driver was arrested at his home and he's charged with kidnapping, sex abuse, attempted rape, and harassment.
A stranger risks his own life to save a man from a burning truck in Florida. The video is absolutely remarkable. Have a look at this.
Get out! Jump! Brinca, brinca!
The rescuer says he was driving to work when he saw a truck suddenly catch fire, and there was a man inside. He says he tried to yell to get the person's attention. He then jumped into action when he saw that man could not get out on his own.
I can't. It's too hot. It's too hot. I can't get out. I can't get out.
Jim Angulo managed to pull that man out of his car. The victim is recovering in the hospital as of right now. And as for the rescuer, he says he's not a hero, just someone who helped another person when they needed it the most.
Researchers say the Deepwater Horizon oil spill was a lot bigger than originally estimated. It happened after an explosion and fire at an oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico back in 2010. It dumped about 170 million gallons of oil into the water. But a new study says some of it was invisible to the satellites, saying it was about 30% larger. The oil-coated beaches along the Gulf Coast, and BP is declining to comment.
Back here in the Piedmont, let's get another check on traffic. Our first in this 4:30 half hour. A live look, Highway 52, Liberty Street in Winston-Salem. Nothing going on northbound or southbound that'll slow you up, at least not yet.
Coming up, she is not your typical Girl Scout, but she is dedicated to selling those cookies, and I bet she's really good at it. Coming up, we're going to introduce you to a woman who started that business back in 1932.
Whoa! Plus, a Valentine's Day gift takes on a whole new meaning, the gift of life. Back in a minute. This is WXII 12 News at 4. Well, it is that time of year to stock up on boxes of peanut butter patties, caramel delights, and my personal favorite, Thin Mints.
In the freezer, right?
Yeah, you gotta put them in the freezer.
Yeah, that's
exactly
the only way to do it. But perhaps the most excited Girl Scout around is 98-year-old Ronnie Bagenstow.
Wow.
She's proudly donned the Girl Scouts uniform for 88 years. Her adventures have taken her from coast to coast, in fact, all around the world.
I became a Girl Scout in 1932. I wanted to be one so badly. And my mother said, when you're 10. So when I was 10, I was ready to go. I'll go home and eat some cookies.
Ronnie says when she first became a Girl Scout in the 1930s, there were only 3 different kinds of cookies, and they only cost 15 cents.
That would be a problem if there were only 15
Huge
cents today.
problem.
That would be a real issue. All right, what better way to celebrate Valentine's Day, which is of course tomorrow, than with an act of true love and selflessness?
That is exactly what a woman did for her husband.
Richard and Lynn Lawson are from Richmond, Virginia, but for the near future, they'll be staying in Winston-Salem.
In this 12 Inspire story, our Kirsten Gutierrez explains the pair is going to celebrate their 38th anniversary next month, and for this Valentine's Day, Lynn gave Richard the ultimate gift.
This is Richard and Lynn Lawson on their wedding day in 1982.
We met in April of '81. I asked her to marry me in July of '81, and we were married in March of '82. So you knew immediately? She was a perfect match.
And still is.
Still is.
Nearly 40 years later, they're stronger than ever. But it hasn't always been easy. For the past 20 years, Richard has been battling kidney disease. In the fall, things went downhill fast, and at first Richard was told he wasn't eligible for a transplant. But after a second opinion, Richard was placed on the list.
More people die on the waiting list for a kidney than for any other organ.
Knowing the odds, it wasn't long before Lynn stepped in.
He was very hesitant. He was not crazy about me doing it, but I say, you know, if I'm going to ask other people to do, I'm going to at least volunteer first, and what are the chances we'll be in a match? And
There
we
it was.
were. Yeah, and we were.
After knowing they were a match, there was no stopping her.
I mean, there just wasn't any question. I mean, I wanted to keep him around a little bit longer.
The two had the transplant surgery February 4th at Wake Forest Baptist Health. When they woke up, they only cared about how the other was doing.
Is my wife okay? Mr. Lawson said.
Lynn not only saved her husband's life, but doctors say she undoubtedly saved others by making the transplant list that much shorter.
Her willingness to give, his willingness to receive allowed someone else to receive a kidney.
Richard says it'll be hard to top this Valentine's Day.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And it was a great trade-off. I got a kidney, she got edible arrangements. So.
As for Lynn, she's just happy to have her husband here to celebrate 38 years together and spread awareness about the dire need for live donors.
I would highly recommend other people checking to see if they could be donors. There are a lot of people on the list that need kidneys that will die before they get them. There's children. I was not aware of it until we started going through this process, and it is heartbreaking.
In Winston-Salem, Kirsten Gutierrez, WXI 12 News.
That couple says they are doing great. The recovery's going well.
Happy to hear that. They are also saying in the area for the next month or so, Winston-Salem general area, and Richard finishes up his checkups before they head back home to Virginia.
Now, if you're interested in becoming a donor, head to our website, WXI12.com, for more information on how to do that.
It'll certainly warm your heart, and at a time when we're about to cool down a little bit.
Yeah, cold weather is on the way, Lainey.
That's right. As soon as tonight, the temperature's really dropping, even around dinner time tonight. Expect those temps to drop into the 40s and 50s across the area by tomorrow morning, down into the 20s and 30s. Yep, that's what I thought you'd say. All right, there is Greensboro. You can see the rain from earlier today. Definitely a soggy first half of the day, but the second half is going to be a lot drier. And it will likely be a lot colder. So remember the advice I gave you yesterday about hoping that you had your coat a little bit later on tonight? You will need it. We don't have a whole lot of rain, so that is good news. It's moving to the east. We've also got mild air in place right now as temps are in the